Welcome to TechMark Pod, where we innovate, discuss, and discover the dynamic intersection of technology and marketing. In each episode, we explore how businesses can leverage both to drive growth and innovation. Meet Alvin, our esteemed host for TechMark Pod. With over 15 years of experience as a renowned marketer, project manager, and software as a service architect, join us as we uncover the unique value proposition of integrating technology and marketing strategies, helping you stay ahead in this fast-paced digital world.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to TechMark Pod. Today's episode, we are going to focus on a startup that was founded by Palesa Motaung. Palesa, welcome to TechMark Pod.
Hey, Alvin. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Great. You know, the reason why I got so much interest in your startup was the farming part. So back in some almost 20 years ago, right, I worked in a farming company where we used to work with farmers. They produce maize seed, soybean seed, and we used to go for these few days and have this conversation with farmers. And the first conversation that I had with you was talk about the soil science. And I was like, wow, yeah, you rarely meet people that talk about that if you are not if you don't go to the farms, right? So yeah, Palesa, tell us about yourself.
All right. Thank you, Alvin. Yeah, so I'm the founder of Bread Africa, which is an R&D, agricultural research and development company that builds tech. So I built Bread because I've been working in the agribusiness space, but my academic background is more academic. I have a master's in soil science. So I wanted to kind of bridge the gap between research, science communication, and I want to say products, but I'll just say tech, because a lot of times the final product in this day and age is a tech product. But yeah, I just wanted there to be a bridge between what scientists, researchers are finding out there and how it reaches the end user, both in how it's communicated and how it is consumed. Yeah, so that's what Bread is about.
Actually, is bread an acronym?
Yes,
what does
it
bread
is.
mean?
Okay, so Bread has many layers. So initially I came up with Bread. My surname is Motaung. So Bataung would be plural, or if you want to refer to my tribe or my clan or my family, Bataung. So it stands for Bataung Research and Agricultural Development. So
Amazing.
yeah, so I also just wanted to, I'm very much into, resonate and believe strongly in my heritage and my ancestry. I feel like all the gifts I have are a result of whatever choices my ancestors made. So I try honor them. And Bread itself, a lot of our products are also about heritage, indigenous knowledge. Our slogan is harvesting Africa's potential. So yeah, it's really embedded in like being African and where is Africa headed in the next few decades and the role food is going to play in that.
Amazing stuff. I think let's get into understanding where does bread fit in the farmer's value chain?
Sure, that's a good question. So, of course, our primary customers are farmers. A lot of the work I do is consulting directly with farmers and agribusinesses. So not only farmers, even agribusinesses. So I'll be coaching agri-tech startups. I'll be coaching farms or agribusinesses, and I'll talk about some of my clients later. But it's not only farmers that we engage with. We also engage with research institutions. So Bread will be subcontracted to do some research in the agri space. And then primarily, apart from the research, it's the tools we build. So we'll talk about Percy Price and Farm in a Box. These are WhatsApp chatbots that allow farmers to make farming easier for farmers. So yeah, I deal with a range of players in the agri value chain, but of course, ultimately, the people we are caring about the most is the farmer.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about how you ended up with Bread, or where you started from. Right. I know you said it's a calling, basically. But is there possibly passion and calling at the same time? And where you actually started this journey?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if I go back to like school, I wanted to I didn't really know what I wanted to do growing up. I know this sounds weird, but like birthday cards used to be a thing back in the day, like those
Of course,
cards that,
it's still a
yeah,
thing.
it's still a thing. Are people still sending birthday
It's still a
cards?
thing.
So yeah, I wanted to actually be the person that draws that designs the characters on birthday cards and comes up with the message. Because the message is always like witty as well, right? Like it'll be like a
Yeah.
pun or like a play on words. So I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. But my mom is a GP, she's a doctor. So of course there was a lot
Mm,
of not pressure, but a lot of people were asking me, even my mom was asking me, are you going to be a doctor? You can take over my practice. In fact, when I got a little bit older, I think she was panicking, like, who's going to take over her practice? So she tried to hook me up with like doctors, like her interns. And I was like,
yeah.
no, this is wrong. But
Yeah.
anyway, I really liked science in high school. I enjoyed science so much. So I knew that I wanted to do something scientific and mathematical in varsity. And then
Mm,
I ended up studying geology. I did like it and I did choose it, but that was after like I ran around a lot in varsity. I had a bursary to study accounting sciences from the Auditor General, but I was just like,
mm,
accounting, no. I was enrolled in informatics for a few weeks.
mm,
So I really played around a lot, but I ended up studying geology, which led me to doing my honors in environmental soil science. So I was more
mm,
interested in governance of natural resources. And when I was doing my honors, I started doing a lot more soil science and agriculture science. Then I was like, this is cool. And yeah, this is cool. So let me lean into the agriculture. Then I eventually did my master's in soil science. And yeah, so from an academic side, the soil science and the agricultural science got me here. On the working side or career side, I was working a lot in research, still environmental resource management, but my friends were like starting startups. So in like 2018, I think 2017, that's when I got involved in my first startup called Desert Green. And our whole
mm.
thing was putting an agronomist and an extension officer in the pockets of rural youth. So agronomist is like a agricultural scientist, and an extension officer is usually a government employee that works for the Department of Agriculture, whose job is to go out to farms and help farmers. So we wanted to put both those type of professionals in an app so that rural youth could find guidance on how to farm. And yeah, after joining Desert Green, then my journey in agri-tech and the world of startups, that's where it started.
Wow, amazing. I'm just listening to your journey and marveling at how you probably were an intelligent student. Everything that you have done, there's a track record of how well you performed. I just want to get to understand when you started. In actual fact, let's go back quickly. I just want to understand, most of the youth, when they start into farming, it's either they've been exposed into farming at an early stage, or they stayed on a farm, or they grew up in a farming household. Did you grow up in a farming household?
No, I didn't. I didn't grow up in a farming household. I just think that my mom is obviously a scientist because she's a medical doctor.
Yeah.
She had a lot of she was very smart. She kept a lot of her textbooks. And first year, second year of BSc, Bachelor of Science, you do a lot of the sciences. So they'll make you do biology, they'll make you do ecology, they'll make you do entomology, especially if you're a biological scientist like my mom. So I found a lot of her books like lying around at home. And as a little girl, she had books on space. She had books on animals. She had books on philosophy. So, if you're bored, you just read. Yeah. So that's where I got a love for
Wow.
science. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing stuff. And so the fact that you didn't come from a farming area, and to understand how to solve farming issues, it's not something that everyone can do. Do you understand? So what happened to the first startup? Did it fail? Did it excel? Or what happened to it? What were the challenges, basically?
Yeah. Okay. Desert Green, what I feel like, I eventually left Desert Green, and I feel, this is from my opinion, all of us kind of were working, and I felt
Okay.
I mean, what are we doing? Like, we can't all have full-time jobs and like do this after work or on weekends. And and, you know, like expect this to work. So I was a little bit like, I felt like a little bit like, yeah, this isn't getting enough attention. And I joined like kind of a big team. They weren't big, but there was like 3 or 4 people already. So yeah, even though I was very excited about the product and what we're building, I just didn't feel like I had a lot of control, not control, but you know, if it's many people and it's other people's vision, you have to like be careful, like how much, because I am a person who I feel that and not judging other people, I'm judging myself. Kind of, I'm a type of person that overextends myself, doesn't really like ration out my resources and my energy. But I think ultimately, yeah, we were all just working professionals and very new to the startup thing. So it was quite difficult to juggle and grow a business. And then, you know, all of you have to go to work. Some people have families, some people start having children. So I think that was the main thing. Yeah, but Desert Green still exists and the founders are still pushing.
Amazing stuff. And then you
Yeah.
pivoted to, or you left actually, and then you went on to start Bread. You were working.
No.
What kind of job? So did you quit your work and then you start Bread? Okay.
Yeah, so there's a couple of there's other startups in between Desert Green and Bread, number one, and a few jobs. So I was also working.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll get into the startups. Professionally, what were you employed as?
Okay, so I'd say my two, mostly before being a full-time entrepreneur, I was working in research as a researcher. So market research, economic research. So one of my main jobs was working for the Forest Sector Charter Council. So, you know, in South Africa, we have BEE, and the mandate of BEE is to transform each sector. So the government, under the BEE Act, the country must have BEE charters, right? These are organizations, Section 21 organizations, not-for-profit organizations that are in charge of monitoring and supporting transformation in different sectors in South Africa. So not every sector has a charter, but most sectors do. So I was in the charter that was monitoring and enabling transformation in the forestry industry, which is timber. That was great. I won't lie. So South Africa has like 1 million hectares of, is it 1 million? Yeah, it has millions of hectares of timber.
Possible.
Yes, and it's a high revenue earner, high export earner, very like concentrated in white male hands, but high employment rate as agriculture employs a lot of people.
Really?
So I was working there. Yeah, I was working for that charter, visiting different plantations, learning about the industry, and then also like navigating like government, private sector, and agriculture. So yeah, that was a really interesting job. Like, and it was in agriculture. So even though it was a different crop, it was timber. So yeah, that's what I was doing. And then I was in Desert Green, and then I left Desert Green around before the forestry company. I worked as a market research assistant for water governance. So it'll always be research, market research, but like most of the time it's natural resources, water, trees. Yeah, you know. Yeah, so after Desert Green and then I was at that timber job, and then in 2020 I resigned. I resigned from that job. One of the reasons was also I had started doing my master's and it was taking me long to finish. I was like, you know what? Let me just leave everything and focus on my master's and just take a break, because sometimes a girl needs to take a break. Yeah, so then I finished my master's. During that time, I was also working with another startup so I feel like I was learning, like each startup, like people meet me and they're building something and then they're like, oh, maybe you can help me because you're soil scientist. And then I joined their team. So the second startup was called Nosetsa. And Nosetsa means to water in Sesotho. And what this guy was building, he was building water irrigation management system. So for farmers who are irrigating, if you want to track and control how much water you are applying to your crops, so he was building something like that. And from the soil science side, I was trying to help him interpret, like when you put soil moisture probes, when you put sensors in the ground, the information they're giving you, what does it mean? How does it relate to your water consumption, your plant water needs? So that was Nosetsa. And then ultimately, the startup that changed my life was AgriCool. Yeah, AgriCool, very cool company. it was market access for farmers. In fact, AgriCool started off doing finance for farmers, so raising finance for smallholder farmers on Facebook. Then we quickly pivoted to market access. We grew a lot. At some point, we were supplying checkers, ShopRite checkers. It was a really cool company, and we're doing quite cool stuff, because when I arrived in 2021, our revenue was maybe like 300K a month. And by the next year, after we onboarded checkers, we were doing like R1 million a month revenue. So
Sure.
it was like, I learned a lot at AgriCool, I won't lie, like dealing with big retailers, financing smallholder farmers, logistics. Yeah, that's one of the big things that has ever happened to me, joining AgriCool, raising funding from Google, from SAB Foundation, loans from banks. So it just gave me like, for me, it felt like an MBA. It was really, really great. Yeah, so after AgriCool, I was just like, okay, I've learned enough. I've supported enough people at home. They need support. Remember, my mom has a private practice.
Yeah.
So she needed my support. And I also just wanted to do what I want to do, which is focus more on the research and even the product dev. Yeah, I am into tech, but I'm more into like research and science communication and building businesses that work. So I was just like, let me go home, help my family, and start my own thing. Like, let me build my own vision instead of building other people's visions.
There's two questions that's outstanding for me. So I was just listening to you, and first question is, do you think as a startup founder, do you need funding? Yes or no, and why?
I think it depends on your business. Right. So for me right now, my main, obviously, like I think I described 3 products under Braid, right? Which is the research, which mostly relies on me getting a grant or someone who has a grant subcontracting me. Then we have the consulting, which is for now the bulk of my business. So farmers approach me, please help me with this, please help me with this, please help me with this. Then there's the tech, the products, right? So my WhatsApp chatbots have few users, like the paid chatbot, I think I'm on like 3 users. The free chatbot obviously has hundreds of users. So I would say that for now, I am funding product development with my consulting earnings. So honestly, if I had a bit more funding, what that would do would accelerate, like push, I would get to point A or point B or point C quicker, but I'm doing it with whatever I'm earning. So what I'm saying is you won't die if you don't raise funding. There's other ways to finance your own business. And also the best funder is a customer. And I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, you only have 3 users. I have multiple users for my other services at Braid. Hence, I can use those, like my consulting. I do have users, right? It's just when you go to like startup theory, because when you learn about being in a startup, there's things they teach you like scaling, being lean, stuff like that. So when I thought about my business and I thought about myself as a consultant, I just thought consulting isn't scalable. I can't help 1,000 people at the same time. It requires me to be there. So ultimately, I would like my products to be the highest revenue earners, and those can get there without me having to be there, with me being on holiday. So that's the ultimate dream. But yeah, so to answer your question, I do think funding is important, but it's not the be all and end all, I think.
Okay. Second question, what do you think about startup founders getting a little bit of experience in the corporate and more education before they start their own business, or should they possibly just start from high school or start from graduation and start there? What do you think?
That's a good question. I think everyone's story is different, right? So I'll first touch on like the corporate experience. When I worked at the Forest Sector Charter Council, there was only 2 of us, right? And it was the executive director and then me, and I was the research assistant. But because I was the only employee, I had to help her a lot with business plans, operational plans, liaising with funders, which is government and industry, admin, like booking flights. So because it was such a small organization, it really gave me a deep dive into business management, right? And funny, she was doing an MBA at the time. So,
Yeah.
like strategy, operations, all of that type of stuff, your business needs that, And if you have no like schooling, or you haven't paid that school fees, whether it's through studies or through corporate, you either have to buy it or you're going to pay school fees in your building your startup, right? But yeah, those type of skills are very important. Like pretty soon you have to understand HR. You have to understand like how to build culture in your business. So whether you get it from school or from corporate, I think that would be great. But I also feel like you could get a co-founder or hire someone, right? Like you don't have to be good at everything. So that's why I say there's no linear path. It just depends. It's just you knowing what skills are important. Do I have to have them, or can I outsource them? But also a lot of entrepreneurs I know have been selling stuff since high school, so that also makes me feel like to some extent it's kind of in you, it's inherent. And the first time you start selling sweets at school or braiding people's hair, it already makes you think about margins, about your time. So yeah, there's no linear path. If you don't have a skill, try find the skill from someone else, or and there's people who start off in corporates, but they don't have that entrepreneurial skill. Like they're good at operations, but they don't know how to speak to people. They don't know how to research like what's needed out there. So yeah, try, buy, or get a co-founder that can help you.
True. I get you. What do you think of marketing and tech in a startup?
Marketing and tech. Okay? I feel like those are such two broad and different things. I would speak about them separately.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's start with marketing. And I'm speaking as a layman, right? So hopefully some of the ideas I bring up under the umbrella of tech, under the umbrella of marketing, I hope they do fall under marketing. So right now I am in like a marketing mood, in terms of like, I'm trying to put my product out there, post about it, exhibits. Like the last few months, I've been going to a lot of exhibits, different parts of the country. I've been, so I've been focusing on exhibits, focusing on social media, and then cold calling, like reaching out to people I know in the industry, like retailers, like ShopRite. I'll call a buyer, I'll call a food safety manager, or a corporate like Sasol. I'll be engaging with them. So I feel like that's part of marketing, even though maybe someone will call it something else. Yeah, so I think that's extremely important, and it's a skill in itself. And what I've been finding is, as I'm reaching out, especially to the corporate partners, I'm like, I wish I had a very like well-packaged short snippet that could like, I could send someone and it's a video, like 30 seconds, and it just explains my product, right? Because sometimes, and now we can also talk about like your elevator pitch and your pitch deck and all of that. Like there's so many things you need to, and so many things that are different that you need to like get together. Your website, and I'm also going to touch on branding, and I'm going to call it neatness, right? So one of my clients has an operational business that's working every day. They grow and source indigenous foods, and they do B2C and B2B. So they deliver to households and they deliver to businesses like restaurants, but only indigenous African food. And they don't even have a domain, no emails, no websites. Last week, I forced them to do a logo, So yeah, so like, when people see your website, they see you have LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, your email has your domain, you're out there, interviews, people trust you, you get more visibility and awareness. So I think marketing, I'm gonna throw things like branding. I call it neatness, like having a cohesive branding image. It's key. I don't even know. Sometimes it's even more important than your product. Just because you look like you've got your things together, people will trust you. Yeah, so I'm still navigating and learning about marketing, especially on the social media side. I'm really trying to grow my social media following. It's just I don't have time. The problem of being like a solo founder to some extent. My Twitter has like K followers. My LinkedIn is almost at 9K. I started TikTok maybe like 2 months ago and almost 2K followers. I see TikTok grows quickly. Something I've been noticing as well is, I wonder what you think about that. Like, my business pages can never perform as well as my personal page. Like, people want me to post about
Yeah.
agriculture on my personal. Yeah. So I'm just trying to like
Yeah,
think
yeah.
about that.
It's almost like that saying that say people buy from people, not from
Yeah.
businesses. They rarely follow your business, but they
Yeah.
will follow you, almost taking away our social life in a way,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is quite interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we need to separate it. I don't know. For me, I personally think that I need to separate the brands, different brands from my persona. I do talk about my brands and all the stuff that I do on my personal page, but it's limited. It's more personal than business.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. So I don't, Alvin, like, I feel like, especially this year, I've become so much more into marketing and branding and stuff. But yeah, I still feel like I have a lot to learn. And when I think about, like, I've been through a lot of incubators and stuff like that, and they do try cover everything. But when I think about it, they don't touch on that as much. So I'm like interested in learning more about like brand positioning. I spoke about science communication earlier, which I feel like I'm very good
Yeah,
at. But
definitely.
obviously, as a science communicator, you trained for specific formats. So like, if I have to write a report, if I have to design an experiment, I can do that, right? But like I said, should I learn how to edit? Because I want to like do a mock-up of my products, do a voiceover, like, I'm just like, I want to like get into some of that stuff. I want to push my social media. I'm thinking eventually, just to touch back on the funding. I said earlier that
Yeah.
you can do it without funding, but it just slows down, right? So right now,
Yeah, definitely.
I'm really using my earnings to finance, like pay my employees, pay service providers. I spoke earlier about like me not having time. So I've been thinking about that. Like, Palesa, you can't do everything. Start outsourcing some stuff, but now you need to pay those people. And
Definitely.
someone might say, so I got a CTO this year and he's working towards being a co-founder. And of course, I'm lucky that he came with 2 developers. Like, the package of him is he has 2 developers. Great. So I have more people in my team and I don't have to pay them because this guy is working towards equity. But I can't give everyone, like every high level service provider, equity, So if I had money right now, like, I would probably hire like a very, very low rate, very few hours a week, social media, like someone to handle my branding, like to push me, go to the farm, let's take content, let's create a video. I feel like that's so important right now, but I'm also like very much focused on building the product. So from the marketing side, I'd say that's what I have to say. I have a lot to learn, but it's extremely important. I definitely want to get my numbers up on social media, see if I can start making money from like campaigns, like getting corporates to, that could also finance product development. From the tech side, I've been enjoying the tech side. That's been a journey. When I was at AgriCool, we got funding from FNB and they wanted us to kind of build the tech. So I find that a lot of founders, especially agriculture founders, you build the tech and then you want the ecosystem to use your tech, right? But it doesn't really work like that often. Most of the time, the successful people have built the relationships. They already have an ecosystem and then they build the tech to manage that, right? Hence the rise in ERPs and all these like work management platforms, right? They are a lot of times very customized to specific businesses. And I'm finding that a lot of people who are building like ERPs, when a business onboards it, they ask them to customize it, right? So what I'm saying is that it's very difficult in agri-tech to like build a product first and then people want you to customize it for them because you are creating it as a response to an existing ecosystem, not to create an ecosystem. So that's one of the first things I noticed. So at AgriCool, we already had, like I said, we were doing like decent revenue, meaning that we were working with volumes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing like tons and tons of vegetables a week, supplying big retailers, aggregating from many farms. So I had to start like tracking that because I was the COO. So operations
Mm-hmm.
means to plan, you need to have data. To monitor, you need to have data. To execute, you need to have systems. So I was more the data. And then I would say equally with my co-founder, systems, because we would have to talk about what are we seeing so we can improve systems, design systems. So that I started off building manual systems. So we were talking to buyers on WhatsApp, talking to farmers on WhatsApp, talking to logistics guys on WhatsApp. And then once we've locked in an order, that whole transaction and the results, I had to record it somewhere. So I had to find ways to extract that data and put it somewhere. And so I started developing a whole lot of systems to record data and make reports so that we can see what's happening. Like, is this load worth it? Because sometimes you fetch produce from a farm and you deliver it and you made a loss. Like you are paying other people to help them. So those are the early days of like thinking about tech. I wasn't thinking about tech too much, but as I started building these systems, a lot of them were paper-based. A lot of times I was pulling data from WhatsApp. WhatsApp doesn't have a CSV where I can download the information. Users, unless you give them a format, they're not posting information in a systemic way. Like, let's
So
say I want
it's unstructured data.
it's unstructured. So, and this is me from all my research and science side. So I was like, I need to first get people to report in the same way, right? And then once I can pull that data, it's easy to analyze it, to clean, and then to interpret it and use it. So a lot of paper-based systems, WhatsApp-based systems. So I was like, how can we use tech to streamline this information? Maybe users are inputting the information already in a digital format so that I don't have to do a transfer. That's a waste of time. So yeah, with the F&B monies, we were supposed to be building a platform. I won't say like I was involved, but I feel like I wasn't confident in understanding like what it takes to build the tech. And I felt like I didn't have ownership. So I was mostly just watching my co-founder try build, and it was tough. We burnt and lost a lot of money trying to build that tech. And eventually just like, let's just focus on what we're doing. Now that I'm at Bread and I've had that experience, I was like, okay, let me go back to what I was doing. One of my first problems was the data I want to collect from our customers and our users.
So is this how you then come up with the WhatsApp at Bread?
Yes, exactly.
I want you to get in. I want you to get into that WhatsApp thing, like go in depth and how it works, because it's amazing actually.
Awesome. So so I saw at AgriCool that we based on WhatsApp. Farmers want to be on WhatsApp. Buyers want to speak on WhatsApp. Everyone is on WhatsApp. WhatsApp, you can send documents, you can send pictures, you can send voice notes, you can call. So that's one of the first reasons I decided to build on WhatsApp. The second thing was for affordability. I don't have funding. So, and before my CTO came on, I didn't have access to like a team of developers. So I found out that you can build some pretty simple like chatbots on like SendPulse, Twilio. I see a lot of people talk about Twilio. So I was like, I can do this. It's $12 a month. I just have to like design the logic and then transfer it to this. So just to save money, that was the second thing. Yeah. So basically, like I'd say as a consultant, as an agricultural consultant, when a business approaches me and they want me to help, they don't realize like if I don't have a bird's eye view and an intimate view of your business operations, it's going to take me long to help you come up with a solution. So for instance, a farmer says, oh, my accountant made these management accounts. I have to send them to a retailer or a lender, and I don't understand why this is missing. Then like I'll look and I'll be like, your balance sheet looks poor. You haven't shown the accountant your inventory in your shed. They haven't valued your stock in the ground. You haven't listed your assets. So when I started Farm in a Box, it was just an easy way for farmers to record data, record activities on their phone, on WhatsApp, which is accessible. Yeah, so as my CTO came on and I started having access to developers, then I had more freedom to play around on the back end. Like in the back end, build a dashboard, put a little bit of AI to automate some of the data cleaning and analysis, add a little bit of like APIs for functionality like OCR so that we can read receipts. Farmers don't have to type. So yeah, I feel like all these years I've been just in these startups, just watching what they do, learning a little bit about tech, but I never became so confident I'm not a developer or anything, but I'm quite confident in my understanding of tech, like especially to be a product manager. Right. I know a lot of times product managers are also developers, but I feel like a product manager should be the person who understands the industry because they know like the customer and the product. Yeah. So yeah, it's been just years and years of watching other people because apart from the WhatsApp chatbot with the Noseta, the irrigation management, that was tech, but that was hardware. So I had to like understand and speak to this engineer about, are we putting flow meters? Like speaking about valves, like irrigation pipes, the outlet, put a valve, what's the size of the valve, how much water pressure is coming through. So all these years, I've just been watching other people, learning about hardware, learning about software. And then, yeah, now I can practice it with my own tools and see if it works.
Yeah, that's an amazing journey. But you didn't do justice to Farm in a Box. I want us to articulate more on the Farm in a Box before we run out of time. Was already we're running out of time. So Farm in a Box, let's talk about Farm in a Box and how you intend that to solve farmers' challenges.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, Farm in a Box is my baby. It's a WhatsApp chatbot. So it's a record-keeping tool that allows farmers to unlock markets and finance, right? All farmers that approach me want me to help them unlock or navigate finance or markets. So how it does that, it's record keeping that allows you to unlock any of the following, right? So there's a feature for food safety. So food safety, it's just about like if you run a food business or you're growing food, retailers, consumers, and even your country wants to know that you are growing this food in a safe and sustainable way and it's traceable. So you're not overusing pesticides, you have a toilet, running water, things are clean, your trainers are trained on hygiene and safety. So normally you get audited by a food safety auditor and they check a bunch of things on your farm. They check your records. Do you have declarations? Do you have standard operating procedures? Your equipment? So a lot of farmers lack knowledge or understanding of these procedures. And then they also don't have the tools to prepare for and execute these activities. So Farm in a Box, it coaches and prompts and does these activities with the farmer to get them ready for their final food safety audit. The second feature is tax and accounting. Similar thing. It's a WhatsApp chatbot that not only teaches you, hey, Elvin, do you know that you qualify for a diesel rebate as a farmer? What is a diesel rebate? Every time you buy diesel for your farm to use on your farm, if you keep the receipts, you can get up to 4 Rand back per liter when it's tax season. So not only do we teach you this, we also allow you to take a picture of every diesel receipt and our OCR picks up the image, stores it in the background for you. And when it's time for your accountant to do your submissions, we have all your data. So the second feature is tax and accounting. So diesel rebates, VAT returns, registrations for agricultural businesses, and then just normal record keeping, like do you have an asset register? Do you have an inventory intake records? Do you have, are you tracking your inputs? Are you tracking your sales? So that is also done via WhatsApp. And then our third and final feature is farm management. So that's the one farmers want a lot. And that's the one that's taken me a lot to build because what the farmers are looking for is helping you set up your farm, number one. Number two, guides. So for each crop that a farmer wants to do, Farm in a Box delivers a set of guides. Those guides include how to identify pests and disease, how to treat them, spraying and fertilizer programs. What else do we have? Spraying and fertilizer, pest management and disease, production plans. So like planting density, which time of the year to plant, which varieties are good. So yeah, Farm in a Box, as I said, it's record keeping that allows you to unlock food safety, or tax and accounting, better accounting of your farm. And then lastly, farm management, precision farm management, knowing your agronomy. Funny, the other day I was thinking, Farm in a Box is an extension officer and an agronomist in your pockets, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
I hope Visit Green doesn't feel like I stole the idea. But I was like, yeah, like I'm giving people production plans. Yeah, so that's what Farm in a Box is about. The food safety is 120 Rand a month. It's a subscription. And the tax and accounting is 95 Rand a month. And the farm management is 250 Rand a month. So trying to keep it very affordable for farmers. Farmers are so taxed in society. They earn little for what they produce. So I was just like, I want it to be affordable, and hopefully I have
the margins are tricky. Their margins
the
are very
margins for
tricky.
farmers. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a story about our farming app, but that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
So I just want to say congratulations on what you've achieved, Palesa. This is amazing, what you're doing and using tech to probably, assist farmers. And if anyone who's listening, possibly farmers or anybody who's listening and they want to get hold of you, how do they get hold of you? Without sharing your phone number, but how do they get hold of you?
Yeah. I mean, the Bread page is a good place. Pages are a good place to start. So Bread Africa on all social media platforms. You can find me. If you want to find me on LinkedIn, just look for Palesa Motaung. And then my email is palesa@breadafrica.co.za. So yeah, I'm pretty easy to find. Just look me up and you'll find us.
Definitely. Do you have any final words? Anything that you want to share with us before we close the episode?
Nothing like, I would love to share like some inspiring words and whatever, which there are many, but just to finish off the tech part, right?
Yeah.
Right now, my direct costs to build or to run Farm in a Box per user per month is 8 Rand per user per month, right? So I just always think about like, sometimes I'm like, investors are so obsessed with tech, but I know why, because it's scalable. And even with massive scale, the costs are still low. So yeah, it's just something that makes me excited about tech. You can like expand exponentially and not use too much resources. So I find that to be quite a cool thing about technology.
Wow, that's amazing stuff. Palesa, thank you very much for coming to TechMark Pod. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
You too, Alvin. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you everyone for watching TechMark Pod. This episode was sponsored by Simbo Digital. We simplify marketing, make it easy for startups and SMMEs. Palesa, thank you, and we'll talk again. We'll catch up. See you in the next episode.